All right, y'all, I want to spend a few minutes unpacking this article that I think is really interesting. Here's the title: Manage Your Energy, Not Your Time. Have you ever thought of that? Like, how often do we talk about managing our time? I need more time, find more time, make more time, create more margin. We talk about our schedules and calendars and to-do lists and commitments, but man, we don't ever talk about our energy. Now, I want to read you the beginning of this article. It's very long, and they go through several different things that you can do to change your energy and improve the amount of energy that you have. But I want to read this example because I think it really hits home with many of us, and it's very relatable. Here's how it starts. It says, Steve Warner is a highly respected 37-year-old partner at Ernst & Young, married with 4 young children. When we met him a year ago, he was working 12 to 14-hour days, felt perpetually exhausted, and found it difficult to fully engage with his family in the evenings, which left him feeling guilty and dissatisfied. Been there? Even if you're not a partner at Ernst & Young, man, that rings true. You're exhausted all the time, and then you feel guilty for not having the energy for your family at the end of the day. That rings true for me. He slept poorly, made no time to exercise, and seldom ate healthy meals, instead grabbing a bite to eat on the run or while working at his desk. Warner's experience is not uncommon. Most of us respond to rising demands in the workplace by putting in longer hours, which inevitably takes a toll on us physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then it goes on to say, the core problem with working longer hours is that time is a finite resource. Energy is a different story. And then it defines it, which I never knew this. It says, defined in physics as the capacity to work. That's your energy, the capacity to work. Energy comes from four main well springs in the human body: the body, the emotions, the mind, and the spirit. In each, energy can be systematically expanded and regularly renewed by establishing specific rituals, with the goal of making them unconscious and automatic as quickly as possible. Y'all, this is fascinating to me. And what's so amazing about this is I found this article after I started my own rituals. So I shared with you that I had this aha moment that with a moving target for a bedtime and all these different variables that would affect my bedtime, then that of course affected the amount of sleep that I got, which of course affected how I started my day. It affected my wake up time. That varied all over the map. It was incredibly inconsistent. Now, I don't know if you're like this, but I have a confession. I don't like rules. I hate rules, in fact. I understand that we need them to keep people safe and have guidelines and guardrails. I get it. I just don't like them. Most of the time, when someone tells me there's a rule or a policy, I want to break it just to show that they're not the boss of me. I just don't like rules. Having a structured bedtime felt like a rule. It felt like this legalistic, no fun life. Having a set wake-up time felt like the same thing. It's just, we've got to have all this structure and you just get box me in. Don't box me in. I just want to live my life. I'm a free spirit. I just want to live my life. Don't tell me what to do. Here's what's interesting. Regardless of your personality style, regardless of if you love rules or you tend to buck the system, having structure makes us feel safe. Having structure makes us feel in control. Having structure creates predictability about our day, our week, and our life. Having structure reduces anxiety because you know what to expect. Having structure creates this sense of peace and calm. But here's what's amazing and brilliant about creating structure: this set bedtime, this set wake-up time, these rituals and routines. Having structure takes the thinking out of it. Let's just camp here for a second, okay? I'm always tired. I have 3 kids under age 6. Anything I can do to conserve energy, or as Donald Miller would talk about it, conserve calories. He says that we're wired for survival, and our brain all day, every day is thinking of how it can conserve calories, how it can think less. So we see something and we immediately our brain is trying to label it, put it in a box and move it aside. So we're not having to use energy or burn calories to think of new things, to reinvent the wheel, to figure things out. So the more that you can create structure, which is predictable and consistent, it makes it easier on your brain. When you make it easier on your brain, you have more energy. Because every night you're not thinking, okay, well, what time do I need to go to bed? And what time do I set my alarm tomorrow? What time should I wake up? What's my first meeting? What do the kids have? All that thinking, I'm just tired just thinking about it. It takes the thinking out of it. As a busy man or busy woman, anything in your life that you can automate, that you can put into place systems or structures that take the thinking out of it, make life so much easier on you. You know, I've been teaching on this for years in business. I tell women to batch their different activities. You know, get in the office and do all your social media at one time and do all your writing at one time and all your shipping at one time. The less that you're switching gears between activities makes you more efficient and takes the thinking out of it. You get really, really productive. I come in here in the studio and I shoot multiple episodes. I go to a coffee shop and I write lots of things at one time. When you get into that gear and stay in that gear, you're so productive and efficient. But when you're switching gears all the time, when you've got a moving target for a bedtime and a moving target for the wake up time, and you don't know what's going to happen between the wake up time and the bedtime, man, your brain is tired. It is working so hard to figure out where you are and what you're doing next in your environment. Is that true? Say yes. Yes, it's true. What's amazing is the last week that I have experienced this set bedtime of I head up at 9:30 p.m. to read a personal development book and I am asleep and lights out by 10 p.m. It doesn't make me feel boxed in. It doesn't make me feel like I've got all these rules that are owning me. It makes me feel in control. Because who set that bedtime? Me. I'm in control of it. It's just like my friend Rachel Cruz talks about a budget. People think a budget limits you. A budget gives you freedom. You set the budget. You can make the budget look like whatever you want to. You set your calendar. You can make it look like whatever you want to. You set your bedtime and your wake up time. You can make them look like whatever you want to. But man, if you pick a consistent schedule and you put these structures in place, it takes the thinking out of it. So every single night of the last week, that I have experienced this. It doesn't matter what's happening downstairs. It doesn't matter if my husband is working on something with work or watching a great documentary or we're having a conversation. 9:30, I'm like, oh, okay, well, time for me to head up. See you tomorrow. Good night. Sometimes we go up at the same time and sometimes we don't. It's exactly as this article says. It has the goal of making these habits, these rituals, as unconscious and automatic as quickly as possible. It creates structure. It creates safety. It creates a sense of control. And when you put these things in place, it boosts your energy. Not just because you have the exact amount of hours of sleep that you need and want, and not just because you're starting your day how you want to for once in your life, but because it boosts your energy. Your brain is working less hard to keep up with all the things going on in your day. You already have enough to worry about in a given day. Am I right? Yes. Your brain is already working really hard to keep up with your work, your business, your goals, your relationships, your to-do list that is ever growing, and your crazy kids. Your brain is already working really, really hard. Don't give it things to work on that you don't have to. Set a bedtime. Set a wake-up time. Set your morning ritual. Set your nighttime ritual. Set these rituals throughout the day that create structure, not to box you in and be the boss of you. You're the one that creates them. It gives you a sense of peace and freedom in that structure that creates real results in your life and in your energy. I love how it goes on to use the example that it started with, and it says, the rituals and behaviors that Warner established to better manage his energy transformed his life. He set an earlier bedtime and gave up drinking, which had disrupted his sleep. As a consequence, when he woke up, he felt more rested and more motivated to exercise, which he now does almost every morning. In less than 2 months, he's lost 15 pounds. After working out, he now sits down with his family for breakfast. Warner still puts in long hours on the job, but he renews himself regularly along the way. He leaves his desk for lunch and usually takes a morning and afternoon walk outside. When he arrives at home in the evening, he's more relaxed and better able to connect with his wife and his children. And I assume the result there is he feels less guilty. I did not read this article before I taught you what I did of what I've been doing this last week. But it is so affirming to know that the Harvard Business Review has actual research and stats on the results of these simple changes we can make. Changing your bedtime, changing your wake-up time, eating throughout the day, moving your body throughout the day, staying in your strengths, these simple things that you can do to not only boost your energy, but change your life.